Alright, this video is about using a set of data to create a box and whisker plot, also known as just a box plot. And so we start off with our data, and I want to make sure that the data is in order from least to greatest. So I'm going to check this out. Yep, so far so good. Yeah, this data is in order from least to greatest. So I don't have to rewrite the data in order from least to greatest, but I would if it weren't already set up in order. So the next thing I'm going to do is I need 5 points. We make a box and whisker plot with 5 points. And they are the lower extreme, otherwise known as the lowest number or smallest number, quartile 1, we can abbreviate that, the median, abbreviate that, quartile 3, and the upper extreme, otherwise known as the biggest number. Largest, biggest, unless we have an outlier. Remember, if we have Mrs. Spoon in a room with students, then in terms of our ages, Mrs. Spoon would be an outlier. And if we had Miss Lampert's baby, then Miss Lampert's baby would be an outlier in terms of our ages, because that baby would be a lot younger than all of the students in the class. All right, so we don't have any visible outliers in this data set. They all are pretty close together. So we're going to go ahead and make our box and whisker plot. First, we have to actually find these data points. The lowest number, well, that's easy. That's going to be 25. And the highest number, that's going to be 50. So I'll just keep those in mind. Actually, I can really just write them here. So 25, 50. And as I find each of these data points, I'm going to go ahead and write them where they belong. So first I'm going to find the median, and that is the middle of this set of data. And remember, in class we used the alphabet to find the middle number. So I'm going to sing the alphabet, and I'm going to say every letter twice. A, B, B, C, C, D, D, E, E, F, F. There we go. And so now I have my 2 middle numbers. Since I sang F twice, and that's the number I landed on, I actually have 2 middle numbers. But I cannot have 2 medians. I have to find what's in the middle of 35 and 35. And I like to think about it like this. If I had, 5 35s in a row, the middle one would be 35. If I have 2 35s in a row, in the middle of them would be a 35. So if I have the same 2 middle numbers, then that is definitely the median. And I'm going to go ahead and write that. I know we wrote it above in class, but I'm going to write it below this time and circle it. And I might even write median here. And then up here, I'm going to record it up here where I wrote the 5 things that I need. So I just have them in a nice even list at the top. So the median is 35. Okay, the next thing I'm going to find is quartile 1. And remember, in class we said to find quartile 1 is like finding the median of the lower half of the data. So I could even just cover the upper half of this data. I'm not going to use the median. I'm going to cover the median as well. And I'm just going to look at the lower half of the numbers and find the middle of that. And I already wrote A here. So I'm going to over here, I can write A again, but I'll write it below so that it doesn't interfere with that letter above. Change my color. A. And then I see there's a B here. I'm going to write a B. And I already wrote a C here. I'll write a C here. And since I don't have any other numbers here, I know that my first quartile is 30. Remember, if you have the same number repeated, then that is the middle of those 2 numbers. So quartile 1 is 30. I'm going to go ahead and record it in my list up here as well. Now I am going to find quartile 3. When I do that, I only need this upper half of the data. None of those numbers have been circled or moved or changed in any way. And I'm going to use the alphabet to find the middle of them. I do notice, though, pretty easy. I know that my quartile 1 was right between C and D. And so actually I can tell that it's also going to be between C and D on the upper half of the data. But we'll find the median just the way we did on the other side by using the alphabet. So I already have A. I'm going to write an A over here. B, B, C, C, and just as I predicted, the middle of the C and D will be my quartile 3 number. It's the median of the upper half of the data. And between 45 and 46, well, I might have to add those together and divide by 2 to find the middle of them. So I'm going to do that over on the side here. And then I'm going ahead and divide 91 by 2. All right, so next we are going to finish this problem. Sorry, someone just came in to say goodbye to me, so I had to pause. So 2 fits into 10 5 times, and now I see that my middle number, the number between 45 and 46, is 45 and 5/10, or 45 and a half. And if you already knew that, you did not have to go through adding them together and dividing by 2. You only have to do that if you're not sure what's right between the 2 middle numbers. All right, so this is my Q3. I'm going to go ahead and record that up top here. And now I have my 5 points that I'm going to plot. They are 25, 30, 35, 45 and a half, and 50. And the next thing I need to do is make a number line. So a couple things to think about when you're making a number line. What are you going to start with? What will you end with? And what will you count by? So my data goes from 25 to 50. Right away, counting by 5s jumps out at me. And then also, I could start at 25 and end at 50. I could also start at 20 and end at 55. I tend to do that because I'm in my graph here so I don't run into my box plot Bitmoji in my writing. So I tend to do that because it gives me kind of a little bit of room at the ends of my graph instead of having my endpoints of my box plot be at the ends of my graph. So I'm going to try to do this evenly and get my numbers spaced out. I might make a mistake and have to start over. We'll see. Oh yeah. I should start over. But instead, I'm just going to go ahead and erase this. Oh, sorry. And rewrite it. Closer. You guys can do that too. All right, the next thing I need to do is actually plot my data. So remember, I circled the 5 things up at the top of the screen that I'm going to plot. They are these numbers. So I'm going to go ahead and plot them. I have 25, and they float up above here, so there's plenty of room for my box. I'm going to float 35 up here. I'm going to float 45.5. So that is, if I were to write 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and then 45 and a half would be kind of right here between 45 and 46. And then I'm going to tap some taps here to just go straight up above there and get it positioned perfectly. And I can just erase my little marks here, my cheat marks. And then the last thing I'm going to graph, the fifth data point I'm going to graph on my box and whisker plot. Oh. Let's see. I forgot to plot something on my box and whisker plot. I did not plot quartile 1. That is 31. So I'm going to go ahead and plot my upper extreme here. And then I noticed that because I didn't have 5 points. And then I looked at the numbers that I was supposed to graph, and I noticed that I had 30 here, and I have Q1 up here, 30, and I don't have a dot above it. So I'm going to fix that now. So I'm going to go ahead and plot my Q1 above the 30. Okay, now I have my 5 points, and I'm going to go ahead and the 3 main things you want to plot, the ones that make the box, are the 3 middle things, Q1, median, Q3. And I'm going to draw vertical lines between the 3 of them, and then attach the tops to make the box part of my box and whisker plot. Last thing I want to do is draw my whiskers going out here. And then, does it look like a kitty cat? I mean, it does if I put in these ears and then these eyes. Sweet little kitty cat. Don't draw that on the MCAS. All right, guys. Now, some things I can find on my box and whisker plot. If I, say, for instance, could not see any of the information in the graph. I couldn't see any of this. This was all closed to me. Couldn't find any of it. From my box and whisker plot, I could find the median. Where is it? It's this middle, the very middle, your 5 data points. It will be the one smack dab in the middle. It's almost like the kitty cat's nose. So I could say, oh, the median is 35. I could find something like the range. That's the biggest number minus the smallest number. It would be 50 minus 25, which is 25. I could find the interquartile range. That's our Star Wars language. And that is 45 and a half minus 30. You can do that math out and get it. I could give you quartile 3. That's 45.5. I could tell you quartile 1 is 30. So these are the things you want to be able to identify on MCAS based upon looking at a box and whisker plot. You also may need to make a box and whisker plot on Excel tonight. So watch this video if you need help, or you already did if you're listening to this. And I know it's 13 minutes long. I'm very sorry, but that's how long it takes to make one box and whisker plot. All right, have a good night. Bye, guys.